Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be doing the carry tier list for 7.36b. Obviously, there was a lot of changes for this patch, and so it took a while. I wasn't exactly sure where to put every single hero on this list, but I took a lot of time to try to choose each and every hero and put them in their correct category. So without further ado, let's talk about the carries for patch 7.36b, where they should be and why, and if I make any mistakes or miss any heroes, please in the comment section down below, fix it, help me out, help a brother out, because yes, there is a lot to change, a lot to talk about. I even did a lot of research. I'm like, what does Medusa do now? What changed about this hero? You know, there's just a lot of heroes where I'm like, what is even new? I had to go back and look, so I'll do my best and let's get into it. On top of that, go sign up to the Game League website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. All right, getting to the E tier, so the worst heroes in the game right now is number 1, Morphling. Morphling got some of the weirdest changes in the game. He got buffed recently in one of the A or B patches, I forget which, where his waveform does 50% of his auto attack damage through everything that he waveforms. And that was huge. It was a really great change that allows him to max out waveform and farm pretty quickly. But that's it. His win rate is abysmal. The hero is already hard to play. It tends to be a bad pub hero due to its difficulty. And then it got these like heinous facets that just kill the hero's win rate. Once again, Morphling's one of those heroes where if you're a hyper specialist, you could probably do okay in the perfect matchups, but even with something like Darkseer being hyper meta, it just makes Morphling a little bit more sus as well. So yeah, I just wouldn't pick this hero. It's too hard, not worth it. Then we have Terrorblade, who got some changes that I thought would bring the hero back into the meta, but they didn't. To put it simply, the hero is still incredibly difficult, requires a mastery of timings. There's some people playing it as support, but as a core, it just doesn't do the trick. It doesn't scale well into the late game nearly as well as some other heroes do that are on this list. And yeah, once again, the difficulty of the hero, especially considering you can't split push now. Like, they nerfed it to the point where, yeah, the illusions do more damage if they're close to you, but they do less if they're far away, which is just, I don't know, it's just not good. Then we have PA. I hate PA. This hero's terrible. It didn't get good facets or a good innate, so it's terrible. It's E tier. She's absolutely terrible. Then we have the D tier, where we have Spectre and Muerta. Spectre is just like, I don't know, usually this hero is A or B tier, so it's kind of shocking to have to put him in D tier, but after nerf and nerf and nerf, he just finds himself in the D tier. The hero, once again, did not get the best innate or facets, and he's just been targeted after being good for like 2 years, 3 years straight in pubs. He's no longer the case. It's like a 46% win rate hero. It's a bad laner. It doesn't scale particularly well. Like, scales okay like it always has, but not like it used to be, especially considering it no longer has its mega haunt, unless you buy Act. So yeah, I would stay away from Spectre. Then we have Muerta, who I think is too difficult to play and just not worth it, even though she received a few buffs recently. I don't think she is the best carry. Then we have the C tier, where we have Riki, another hero that tends to be in the B or A tier, but once again, just a target of a lot of nerfs. Also, they recently buffed one of his facets, but it wasn't enough. It was the Tricks of the Trade granting bonus agility, which is cool. It's interesting. It does more damage to creeps, but I just think that this hero doesn't have what it takes right now. Its laning stage is not good. It's extremely free for basically every single offlane of the game. And with Crimson Guard being buffed now, and that hero as well as Mech and Radiance being good, a bunch of physical damage, block, or evasion, Riki finds himself low in the C tier. Then we have Sven, who I just feel like he's not good right now. He got 4 base strength recently, which was cool, but other than that, he used to get 12 strength from like maxing cleave or some crap. It was like 9 or 12. It was insane. He was way too tanky. He just lost that straight up. Ever since then, just bad hero. Then we have Animage, who just didn't get help from this patch. I really thought his Mana Thirst facet would be good enough to put him in the meta, but just doesn't seem like it's good enough. It read well. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. You do more damage if people are low on mana? That's pretty dope. Just doesn't play too well. Even though it also gives vision if they're out of mana. Then we have Faceless Void, kind of the same thing as Spectre. The hero was so good for so long, it just got number nerf, number nerf, number nerf. Time dilation worse. Ulti worse, you know, Bash worse. Maelstrom, 10 times worse than it used to be. It got nerfed a ton, so he's just not there. Luna, another thing, she was good for a while. Now her W is like, the old shard is part of her W now, but it's like a mega nerfed version. And you can buff it with one of the facets, but it doesn't even get better than the old shard. So it's like, it's just not worth it. The hero already never had a good winner in pubs, and that's mainly because it doesn't scale that well. It's a mid-game hero. Luna's a hard mid-game timing hero, and now that they nerfed that timing, I just think that the hero is pretty terrible. Then we have Lina. She's just a little too fragile. Naga, who tends to be B or A tier, fell down a bit, just number nerf, number nerf. Sniper, same thing. He recently just got buffed. I actually think the hero maybe could be like a low B tier hero, so that's why I put him at the top of C tier. But for the most part, not a huge fan of Sniper. Then we have Marcy coming in at B, just like a whatever carry. We have Bristleback, who I'm not sold that Bristleback is B. I will be honest, this is one where I considered putting it at the top of B or an A. I'm really not sure about this one. I think Snot Rocket is Facet, where you increase the max stacks of goo that you can put on someone, and the base goo armor loss at level 1 is 2.5. That means the first goo you put on someone reduces armor by like 4.5. It is ridiculous, and it gives damage because you have Warpath innately now. So this hero's landing stage with the goo level 1 with the Snot Rocket is pretty nasty, and the axe still makes you shoot quills out of your back, and you can right click really hard. So I'm not convinced this hero is that bad, but I haven't seen it a lot besides Gork, who I actually haven't watched recently. So I'm not exactly sure if it's too good or not. Then we have Razor, who is just a decent carry, but the hero got like bad facets and nerfed, mainly because of the fact that Team Falcons was winning too much with it. Then we have Abaddon, who I think after his E nerfs has become a much worse hero. He no longer needs Manta Style to obliterate people. You kind of have to go some sort of like Radiance Harpoon build, which is not terrible, but then they nerfed the E extremely hard recently, and it kind of killed the hero, at least for me. I think it's a good support, don't get me wrong. I actually like this hero as a support, but as a core, not so much. Then we have Alchemist. I think Seed Money Alchemist is pretty good. It just gets you off to a good start, and you can hit like a nasty Radiance timing. This hero buys some of the best items in the game, Radiance, Santunyasha being the main two, but still, for some reason, I think it's the scaling, because the hero doesn't annihilate the late game, and you're going to notice this is a trend, guys. Heroes that scale incredibly well due to changes or just how the hero innately plays tend to be better in pubs, because your average Dota match goes long. It's going to go 40 minutes. And so if Alchemist goes 40 minutes, he's not going to win the man fight against some of the S tier carries or A tier carries. He's not going to carry the game. And that's what's hard. His mid game can be incredible. You can tempo the game and snowball if you play very, very well, but it requires a high level of understanding of the hero, and that's why it can be difficult. Then we have Arc Warden, who got some nerfs recently. Apparently, one of his facets, Divergence, or it's like something like that, is the highest win rate facet in the game. I don't understand why. I have a feeling maybe it has to do with like smurfing. I don't know. I hate like blaming Smurf for like win rates and shit, because there aren't like as many Smurfs as people think. The comments are gonna get so mad at that. I know that. Speed, I have a Smurf every single game. Every game there's a Smurf. I understand. You're cursed. Your life is, it's unwinnable. All your games are unwinnable. Okay, let's get into Monkey King. Monkey King is in B tier. His win rate is more of a C or a D tier, but I just don't think that's the case. He received some very substantial buffs. His Boundless Strike is only a 15-second cooldown at max now, which really helps him farm much, much quicker. He also has this really cool facet, Simian Stride, where basically if you're above 90% health, you can hop around on a 0-second cooldown. The mobility is unbelievable. The only problem is, in order to get the most value out of this hero, you gotta have a really strong map understanding. You gotta know how to go from camp to camp to camp. You gotta know how to use the portal. You gotta know just how to find openings. Like, oh, they showed a hero top, there's 2 heroes mid, there's 2 heroes bottom. I can create a numbers advantage bottom. Like something like that, you know what I mean? You gotta have a very strong understanding of Monkey King, which is why he's absolutely not A or S tier. The execution is insanely difficult. If you get it down, I think this hero is A tier right now, but for the average player, it's more like low B tier or C tier. Then we have Meepo, who got some nerfs recently. I'm always a fan of this hero in pubs. I think it's an incredible pub hero due to its reliable laning stage and fast farming, but they nerfed a lot of its timings. They nerfed its poof damage, they nerfed its movement speed, they've nerfed its shard. I think they nerfed the Ags. You get like way less stat from the Ags. Oh, no, the Meepos just straight up get less stats now. Like, they nerfed the heck out of this hero, which is why it's B tier. I usually think it's S or A, like high A. But right now, it's just not the case. Then we have Bloodseeker, whose win rate shot up recently due to the 7.36B patch, giving him a buff to his innate, a buff to Blood Rage, doing less damage to yourself. They gave him some huge buffs in the B patch, and I actually think it catapulted this hero's win rate, so it might be decent. The only thing is Maelstrom's kind of a nerfed item, which is this hero's main item, but Gleipnir is a great item, and I love Gleipnir Bloodseeker. It's really good. You hit the AoE root into the Blood Right, it feels strong. Then we have Drow Ranger, who just shoots people, but she got nerfed a bunch. I don't think the hero's in a great spot right now, but it tends to be such a good pub hero that it is still high of B tier. Then we have Slark, whose win rate is not too great right now, but I actually believe, similar to Monkey King, it's one of those heroes where I just can't put it in C tier or D tier, because I just think that it's too good, if you know how to play it, to be in those tiers. The reason why? Now, at level 1 on Slark, if you're out of vision, you get 10 HP regen. This is something they buffed recently. Want to know what else they buffed? They made it where you cannot Force Staff out of leashes anymore. Slark has a leash, so now the Force Staff counter of Slark, not in the game anymore. Also, what they did to this hero is they made the ulti a lower cooldown. Instead of being 60 at level 1, it's now 50, or 65 at level 1. No, it used to be 70. It used to be 70 at level 1. Now it's 50. It used to be 45 at max. Now it's 30. the cooldown on this hero's ulti is way lower and allows you to play a much faster paced tempoed game than you used to be able to do. Plus its laning stage is better due to the changes to the, I think it's called Barracuda, which is his innate. It's essentially the regen from Out of Vision that used to be a part of his ult. It's his innate now, and it's like mega buffed. Then we have Lone Druid who's at the top of B. I actually think this hero's mega underrated. One of his facets allows the hero to heal the bear and the bear to heal the hero, and the hero never used to be able to heal the bear. Now it just can by auto-attacking anything. And it actually makes the bear far more sustainable, plus you get the bear at level 1 just straight up with Spirit Link, which is a great combo. It's really hard to fight against. The hero's laning stage is pretty good. The only thing is if you feed the level 1 bear because it has no armor, low health, and an 160-second cooldown. So I actually think this hero is best as a mid because that's where it's hardest to feed the bear. But I think also as a carry, because the lane is close to your tower at level 1, you can skill up the bear at level 2, get some of that HP going, make it a little bit tankier, or at least keep it alive with level 2 Spirit Link as well. So, well, I guess you can only take level 2 Spirit Link at level 3, so you'd have to take bear at 2 and then Spirit Link at 3. All right, then getting into A tier, we have Medusa, who I haven't seen a lot in my games, but the win rate's very good. And it's a late game scaling beast, which I always stress is good. And she actually has a very, very good facet. Her facet Engorge grants Medusa based on how much mana she stole. So typically in the laning stage, it's going to give you about 7 or 8 damage if you hit like a range creep. If you hit a range creep in a hero, you're going to get like 14. And it allows you to last it and like really chip people down. It's really good for trading and securing creeps. So it's honestly just good. It only gives it to you for 3 attacks and it doesn't work on multi-shot. I did all the testing for this because I'm like, what does this hero do? I haven't seen it. But in the late game, like if you hit a snake on people with a lot of mana, guys, you can get like bonus 200 damage, 300 damage. If you hit a snake on the enemy team, it can get crazy. Oh, and I didn't test the shard. Maybe it works on the shard too. So this hero is pretty good. I'm certain it's solid. And the build you should go is Wand 3 branches into mana boots. Like, don't go treads. Go mana boots and the hero will feel 10 times better. All right, then we have Chaos Knight, who receives some big buffs through his facet and his innate. This hero is definitely just solid overall right now, mainly because his illusions spawn 50% of the time more. When you just create any illusion, you have a 50% chance of getting another one, which is pretty good. And they're all strong illusions, which is really, really solid. Plus, this hero received buff over the last 3 patches. To his W, to his Q, he's just received a lot of buffs. Then we have Klinks, who is really solid right now. Great hero, great laning stage, great scaling. It really does do it all. On top of that, he has this really cool facet called Engulfing Step, where you move towards the unit you eat. And it's really good for disengaging and engaging. If you want to chase people, you can eat towards them. If you want to run away, you can eat a creep away from them. It's really, really cool. Plus, it reduces Death Pack cooldown, which gives this ability, it's so nice. It basically lets the ability be constantly up. So you get to heal more, you get to eat more, right? You're higher HP more often. I really believe in this hero. It's super good. Then we have Jug, solid carrier right now. Got nerfed really hard, but still got a lot of buffs in the patch. For instance, its Q just hard dispels him when it ends. He has really strong facets. Both are good, Blade Storm and Blade Form. Very, very powerful. Just a solid hero overall, and scales well into the late game with Ags and Mjolnir. Then we have Troll Warlord, really solid right now. Got some really cool facets and innates. Also, his melee and range stance is innate at level 1, so you actually have the access to melee and range access at level 1. This is so good because of the fact that now you can man up very, very well. Previously, you would only have range access at level 1 because you had to either skill the ability to swap between range and melee, or you'd have to skill the ability to cast those axes, like do the spell ability axes. Now you get both. It's really cool and it's really good because at the rune fight, you can have a slow and mischance. Early level 1 fight happens. You can fight incredibly well. So the hero's laning stage early on, way better. And its scaling is very good. The Ags also pierces BKB now, so you can dispel the enemy through BKB, which is nasty. If you don't know what the Ags does, the whirling range axes, the ones you chuck out, dispel on the Ags. And the melee ones, the ones that spin around you, dispel you. Of course, that already went through BKB, so that's fine. But yeah, this hero received some big buffs. Big fan of the hero. You can go Battle Fury or Maelstrom. I think the Battle Fury in the Sanji Nasha build is really good into like an Ags BKB or a BKB Ags. Then we have Shadow Fiend, very solid carrier right now. The buffs to Shadow Rays make him a nasty laner. Then we have TA, who would be probably S tier if we talked about the pro scene, but for pubs, she's an A tier hero due to the difficult execution and not the best late game scaling. However, she is so good right now because TA tends to be E or D tier. She is so good right now that even as a shit pub hero, she is A tier. Easily. Refraction doesn't get broken by instances anymore. She's too good. She's innately a Psyblades, so she farms really fast, even without skilling the ability. You can just take Meld and Q. So, like, at level 4, you can have Psyblades, Meld, and 2 points for Fraction. Sorry, at level 3. Not at level 4. It's even better. And, yeah, I mean, this hero just zone controls obscenely well. The problem is most people don't know how to play TA. They just like give up their area way too early, and then you don't scale as well as you should. Then we have Gyrocopter, whose win rate is like B or C tier, but I can't put him there. I think this hero is one of the best carries in the game. Most reliable laning stage in Dota, in my opinion. Literally the best in the game, in my opinion. This hero has no bad matchups, essentially. Not that I've played. I've literally never played a lane, and I'm like, yeah, that was unplayable. Not once. Never felt that way. I've lost lanes, but I'm not like, oh, that was unplayable. There's just a lot of factors that go on, right? The Crystallis into Ags, into BKB, into like Daedalus Satanic. It's just so powerful. It scales well. This hero's fast-paced. Afterburner, the facet, is really good for sticking on people. I just think that this hero is like too good to pass up. Then we have Weaver. This hero, Gleipnir. Big fan of the item right now. Weaver buys it. His laning stage is just insanely good. At level 2, you have 3 abilities. Level 1, you have Gemini and Sakushi. The harass potential is insane. This hero scales incredibly well. The Maelstrom with the Shard makes you farm faster than almost any other hero in the game. It is unbelievable how fast Weaver farms with Skitter Step, the Facet, which gives you bonus movement speed and is slow on the Sakuchi, the Shard, which makes you Gemini attack, everything you Sakuchi, and then Maelstrom, which then Maelstrom procs off of that. It's really nasty, the pace that this hero can play. Then we have Pudge, who receives some pretty notable buffs, and I actually think that Carry Pudge should take the, what is it called? The Flayer's Hook, where the bonus hook deals damage. The base damage is reduced, but it's faster, and it deals damage based on the distance pulled. It's just like so good in the lane. Like CM Pudge as a lane is like so good right now. And yeah, he's good against Darkseer. He's good against some of the meta offlaners, particularly Darkseer. The laning stage, as I said, is just so good. The pre-rune, you're going to get a kill at the rune like most games if you hit a hook. And yeah, the scaling on this hook is just insane. You do way too much damage. You buy a Shivas, you buy a Shroud, you buy Ags. It's easy. Usually the build is like Phase Boots, Ags, Cloak into Shivas into Shroud. Unless it's like a broken magic damage resist game. Then we have Ursa, who basically got this huge buff where now he just gets bonus like 11 damage at level 1. And what this allows him to do is last it. Old Ursa used to have like 48 damage, now has like 59 with its innate. It's just insanely good. So they gave him this Battle Fury. It's like a nice Battle Fury hero, and that item's kind of meta right now because Maelstrom is like a little weird at the moment. Maelstrom's fine, but it's like a little weird, you know? So I think that benefits Ursa. So you just go Battle Fury Blink, BKB Basher. Very standard, very straightforward. On top of that, something to keep in mind is that this hero, its debuffs inflicted last 20% longer, so its Q slows longer, bashes are longer, its Abyssal Blade eventually is 20% longer, which is really nice. Its talents are insane. It either uses mana regen or Fury Swipes reset time. The Fury Swipes reset time is insane. You can't get these swipes off of you. At 15, you have one of the most broken talents in the game, and Urshok applies 2 Fury Swipes, which is insane that that's a level 15 talent. Then you have Fury Swipes damage at 20, and Urshok has 2 charges at 25. This hero is just insane in its scaling, and its laning stage against a lot of the strength melee heroes is very good. Then we have Venge. I know it might be crazy to see her here, but I really believe in this hero as a carry. It got buffed because now it has this melee attack time thingy, and you might be like, oh, so it's Battle Fury Venge. No, I actually think the build is just like Shreds, Wand, Wraith Band, Bracer, maybe an old Talisman if you need mana, into Ags. And then you buy like Manta Style, Dragonlance, Butterfly, and go fight. It's like the better Ricky right now. What I mean by that is like, for all these heroes, the best fighting carry in the game right now, in my opinion, is like Clinks, maybe Weaver, maybe Gyro, and Venge. This hero just cooks. You just farm an Ags, the laning stage is insane. You hit like a truck with 68 base damage if you buy Circlets, right? The starting build is 2 Circlets, branches, Tangos because you're universal. It's nasty. Then we have PL. It's crazy to see this hero up here because it's terrible in high MMR because people just abuse the laning stage too much. Like basically people are better at playing the game fast paced and abusing its weaknesses. But the lower you go, the PL just becomes broken. And that's the reality, guys. Like if you want free wins in the late game, you pick PL because of the fact that he has Divergence now, where you have this facet where essentially when you go hit people, instead of the illusions spawning on you and then you having to control them, they spawn randomly and you can't control them. And you might be like, oh, that sounds terrible. But it's not, because you don't have to be good. The illusions just hit anything. And even if you are good at PL, it's probably still the better facet because let's say a support is trying to save the person you're going on. You're hitting an Underlord. You don't want to hit the Underlord with the illusions. You want to hit the CM trying to save him. It has, in a 600 AoE, the chance to just spawn on the CM, the illusions. And then they just follow her and they Phantom Rush. So you don't have to like worry about messing up the micro on Phantom Rush, which people would do all the time. So yeah, the hero's win rate went up and I was like, why? And then I looked at some PL and I looked at this facet, I tested in demo, I'm like, this is so good and it makes the hero easy. That is always a combo for a good pub hero and it scales. So yeah, plus Phantom Rush is innate now. where you get like the ability to run up to a creep, which is really good for last hitting because it gives you 5 damage. It's good for just the ability to disengage, engage, because now you can have 3 abilities at level 2, which I always say is just broken, right? Every hero that got it got better, except for like Kunkka, I guess. What else? Yeah, probably just Kunkka. All right, and finally, we have Wraith King for the S tier. There's one other hero, which I'll get into in a moment, but we have Wraith King. Both Bone Guard and Spectral Blade are some of the best fastest in the game. Spectral Blade just scales insane, pure damage on your hits, plus you get lifesteal from it, makes you absurdly tanky, and your burst damage is nuts. It's really strong and easy. This hero scales well, it frontlines well, it buys Radiance, which is obviously incredible. In this current meta, the item got buffed a lot, still is really, really good. And so yeah, Wraith King, super solid and very easy. Bone Guard, also, it's funny, like, even if, let's say you have a bad matchup in the laning stage, you're against, like, DP, or a bad matchup, a DP or a Viper, you just take Bone Guard instead, and now you have these skeletons that these range heroes can't deal with, because they don't have innate stout shield block like melee heroes did, right? So I just think that Wraith King is really, really, really good right now. It's really easy. Yes, his ulti is an extremely long cooldown. That's something you have to play around, you gotta be careful about. But for the most part, Spectral Blade is just the way to go. It's good, it's strong, and they gave him some of the best talents in the game. At level 10, not actually that great, that's where he's kind of weak, but at 15, you either get 1 second stun duration, which is nasty good, always has been. It just makes it a 2.6 second stun on an 8 second cooldown, or you get 400 health, which is nasty amount of health, and you get 70 attack speed. 70 attack speed. And when you die, this is the biggest part of the hero, I would say, outside of Spectral Blade just being good and these talents being insane. When you die, you just stay alive. At level 1, it's for 3.5 seconds with 30 bonus attack speed, 10% bonus movement speed. Plus you get innate lifesteal from this innate, so you just heal more. And then at max level, it used to be better. It's not anymore. It's a little bit worse, but it's up to 5 seconds with 75 attack speed and 25% bonus movement speed. You almost guarantee get a kill when you die because your hero is fast, hits way harder, and it still can apply Spectral Blade. It's crazy. Best frontline tank in the game right now, outside of Lifestealer. I think these heroes are probably tied for first. If I had to pick one, I would pick Lifestealer personally. I think the hero scales a little bit better than Wraith King. However, it's mechanically more difficult. You gotta know when to infest, gotta know when to click Rage, gotta know when to click Open Wounds. Wraith King, it's like, ooh, I'm just gonna stun the first guy I see, and then he takes half his health, and that's it. That's literally all you have to do. With Lifestealer, it's kind of the same thing where you just run up to the first guy you see, click Rage and hit him with a Radiance. They're kind of the same hero, but you gotta like click Rage at the right time and infest. But you don't have to click Rage at exactly the right time anymore because of the fact that you have Corpse Eater, his facet, where every time you get a last hit or a deny, you get 2 health. And that might not sound that good, but in the mid game, when you have a bonus 500 health, it's pretty good. Imagine having a 500 health talent like Wraith King does at level 20. Imagine you just have that as part of a hero that has an HP problem. You might be like, Lifestealer has an HP problem? Yes, Lifestealer has an HP problem. If you go Armlet Radiance or Radiance Armlet, you don't have that much HP. If you then, let's say you even go Radiance Sanjin Yasha, okay, you have 1 strength item on a hero that doesn't have the best strength gain. Then you're gonna go, let's say AC, which is pretty standard. You don't have that much HP. You don't. This hero has had an HP problem, especially in the early game. Now it just doesn't. It just gets that solved. Plus, Feast is innate, and Open Wounds is an insane ability. It basically makes it where you and all of your allies lifesteal with abilities and right clicks on the target for 50% on a 7 second duration on a 15 second cooldown with 600 cast rate. It is really good. This ability is really, really good. It used to be the shard, and people would buy it, and then they would have less HP because they had to buy the shard. So you can see why this hero is pretty good right now. It got a lot. Its Feast is innate, so it got a free ability, which people used to buy. Now you don't have to buy it, you just get it. His talents are insane. You get movement speed, 50 attack speed, Open Wounds lifesteal or infest movement speed, range duration, feast lifesteal and damage. Everything about this Ags is insane as well. It's Ags where you can get inside of an enemy target and disarm them through BKB. Crazy. His worst matchup in the game, Troll Warlord and Ursa, previously are completely countered by the Ags. Completely. Its worst matchups are countered completely. So yeah, this hero is super good. Solid. It's not that great in the early game. You gotta farm up a Radiance. When you hit that timing, you go crazy. It's kind of like Wraith King. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.